Well, today I find myself bobbing around in the ocean at Ioko, a spot I come to fairly frequently to swim. And when I do, I normally wear a 3 mil wetsuit, red one. But today I have another plan. I'm planning on heading out to Mossom Creek, which is about 700 meters that way, which I think is east. Hope it's east. Anyways, there's a salmon run there, and I want to video the salmon run. This is actually my, I don't know, third or fourth time making the swim to have a look at the salmon run. Unfortunately, Mossom Creek runs into the harbor and is surrounded by private property, so there's no public access to the beach there via land. So I have to approach it by water. But a 700-meter swim is no big deal, especially after the last few swims, which were quite a bit longer than that. And yes, as to the wetsuit, yep, I'm wearing a different suit. 5 mil today. I'm anticipating the water's going to be bloody cold. I think the ocean here is around 6 or 7 degrees, and the creek might be considerably colder than that. I'm not really sure. Maybe you'll find out when I get there. Well, time to get swimming.
On the way out, I saw this starry flounder, which seemed to have a strange desire to come up to the surface. It seems rather atypical to me.
Well, I've reached Mossom Creek outfall. Probably about 13 minutes to swim here. Maybe it's not quite 700 meters. Anyways, we'll see if there's still any salmon hanging around or what else might be happening here. There's still lots of seagulls here.
From offshore, it can be a bit hard to tell where the creek mouth is, but all you have to do is look for the spot with all the seagulls. Decades ago, this salmon run was effectively dead, and it's only been through the very hard work of the folks at the Mossom Creek hatchery that this run has been reconstituted. One of the advantages of diving in a creek so close to the ocean is that I got to see this female chum salmon who has barely transformed into her spawning colors. I think this is probably the most silver chum salmon I've ever seen in my entire life. The area I was diving in is tidal, and at high tide the entire area will be covered in salt water. And I didn't think that the salmon could effectively spawn in an area like this. But the folks at the hatchery told me that in fact they can spawn here, and it's because there's fresh water running deep into the gravel, and that protects the eggs and the alvin. On one trip out I brought my 6-inch dome port, which allows for over-under shots, and I was delighted to see this heron patrolling along the side of the creek. At one point it actually looked like it was trying to stalk me. Here's a small hatchery coho which hasn't transformed into its spawning condition yet. Eventually the tide came in and reclaimed the very small area I had to video the salmon in. So like a spawned out salmon, I let the creek push me back out into the ocean. The dead salmon were being swarmed by Dungeness crabs that looked like they were just about big enough to spawn. And when they do spawn, their pelagic larvae form a food resource for some salmon. So maybe the dead adults of this generation of salmon are priming a source of food for the next generation. And here's a shot of a probably previous generation of salmon's offspring far up Mossom Creek. From the surface, I could see there was probably a half a dozen harbor seals hanging around out at the mouth of Mossom Creek, but I didn't actually see any of them underwater. So I was surprised and delighted when I discovered that my camera had accidentally captured some video of one of them as I was swimming home.
Well, I'm back from the outfall Mossom Creek. The folks from the hatchery told me there was over 1,000 chum salmon come up the creek this year, which I think is a banner year for them. And it was interesting. Chum salmon aren't the most aesthetic salmon. I kind of prefer coho or, sockeye look good, sprigs look good. Chums, maybe not quite so much. But nonetheless, it was interesting to see them. And I'd never been to Mossom Creek until this year. So that was pretty interesting too. Anyways, that's it for today.